Pew, 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 pew. We're live.
That was fast.
Yeah.
I just got
I
here.
was just thinking, you did just get here. From over there. You've been here all day. Except for when you weren't. For a little while.
So insightful.
You know, I just had to break it all down. What's going on, everybody?
My volume.
Your volume is on. So, thanks for hanging out for this last hour of Primetime Guitar. It's National Coffee Day.
But is there alcohol in there?
Yeah, in my case, it's coffee and coffee liqueur from Green Door Distilling in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So, yeah. Because I really wanted some coffee. But, you know.
So you added coffee flavor to your coffee?
I did. It's really good.
I don't doubt that at all.
No, it's really good. So, tonight, you guys saw the live stream thumbnail. We actually had another thumbnail on there, and we're going to talk about that a little bit too. PRS came out with pedals today. So, if you've not seen the thing about the PRS pedals, let me know. We can talk about it real quick. If you have seen it or know anything about it, are you going to get them? I was already looking, and I think I'm going to get at least one that I'm very interested in. So, we'll talk about that for a second. And then the other thing is the top 5 guitars being sold. So here's what I did. Actually, earlier today, I got this idea. I was like, you know what? I'm going to email my guy at Sweetwater who knows a guy who can tell him, because he couldn't tell me, but he knew a guy who could tell him, what the top 5 guitars that are selling at Sweetwater right now are. And the list is going to surprise you. There are some surprises on there. There are also some not surprises on there, but I think there's a couple of surprises that you're going to be like, whoa, this is interesting. Especially because the internet wants you to believe a certain thing, and therefore, then it must be true, but it's just not. And that new lens looks fantastic. I got a new lens this week.
It makes me feel like I don't know where I'm supposed to look, though. It just is like,
well, it's way bigger, right? Like the old lens was so tiny compared to this thing. For those of you that care about this, I got the Canon 15 to 35 2.8L glass for the Canon RF mount, because we use Canon RF stuff here. And so that's what you're seeing, and it's bonkers good. It's really, really good. So put some guesses, actually, in the comments, top 5 guitars that you think are being sold right now at Sweetwater. Let me know what you think they might be, and we'll dive into that.
Somebody already said theirs. So Rusty Shackelford said, I guess Gibson SG, Mexican Deluxe Strat, Indonesian Hum Hum Telly, Gibson Les Paul Jr., and some kind of Ibanez, maybe a cheaper Steve Vai. I don't know.
Totally wrong. Totally wrong. The thing is, those are good guesses. Because for as much as the internet talks about particular guitars in certain ways, I would have been right there with you with that list. Totally wrong. Crazy. And I should say that we included all guitars, not just electric. So there are a couple of acoustics on there. So just if you're guessing, I want you to have that heads up so that you're not as wrong as Rusty Shackelford. I'm just teasing. Your list and my list, before I saw it, because I emailed him at about 10 o'clock this morning, and he had to put the information together, and it was like, I was thinking all day, I'm like, I wonder what they are. And then I was actually going to try not to look before the live stream so that I could be surprised, but I had to put it all together. The live stream put it all together. So
Nalu Kiku says Squire Strat, Les Paul, Taylor GS Mini, Taylor 224 CE, and Yamaha.
Somebody looked in the comments ahead of time.
Andre looked or said top 1, some Squire pack.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute. Before we do These things, though, we have 2 questions that came in from YouTube members. From YouTube, the member thing, you hit the little join button, and then also some Patreon stuff. So we have 2 of those. If we could get to those, and then we'll get back to this whole conversation. And then if anybody wants to know about the PRS pedal stuff, if you're interested in that all, we can talk about that too. I think it's really neat.
All right, Randy. I bought an acoustic Eastman PCH in Memphis. The guitar does not have a strap button by the neck. Would you add one or just attach the strap at the headstock?
I would put a strap button on it. There are a lot of acoustic guitars, even high-end acoustic guitars, will come without a strap button because there is that old folk option of putting it on the peg head. I personally, the guitar is totally strong enough to do it. I mean, people have been doing it for years and years and years. But I personally, just for how I feel, I don't want to say for how I feel the guitar should be played. I just feel like it works better if you put a strap button at the bottom of the heel. So depending on how that heel comes out, you can put it right in straight into the back of the heel of the neck. That's what I would do. Or some of them put them on the side of the heel too. I think my Breedlove, you know how the heel comes out to a point like this? So some people will put it in the very end of it, and some people will put it like on the bottom of the blade of the heel, if that makes sense, like straight into it. And I think that's where my Breedlove is. Okay, cool.
Sean McMillan said, if the new lens isn't tone enhancing, I'm not interested.
It's making everything better. So yeah. There's less distortion. Like
Foxy so and Craig.
That's the name. I was just going with it.
What editing/streaming software do you use for your live events?
We use.
Is this an event?
It is. We're gonna make it an event. Sounds important. Even if it doesn't start out that way, it's gonna become that.
The main event.
The main.
Okay.
Yeah.
What editing or streaming software do you use?
Well, it can't be the main event because we don't have Bruce Buffer. If I had Bruce Buffer announcing our thing, it would be way better. Anyways, we use Ecamm Live, which is a software. I pay monthly for it, and it gives me all kinds of inputs, and then we can switch between the internet and share screens and all that kind of stuff. And I think we got a super chat, so I'll get out of your way.
Apparently not. You're like jumping the gun over here.
Sorry.
All right. Bacon Tracks Backing Tracks. Marco Caracciolo.
I feel like that there is a subtle. You should go check out his YouTube channel because that might have something to do with it right there. So maybe you should go check out his YouTube channel.
Thank you for the super chat,
Thanks for
Marco.
the super chat. I'll give him the plug. He gave
any
us super
thoughts
chat.
on Rick Turner LB Model 1? I read that Rick passed away.
He did. I do not know much about his guitars. The interactions that I had with Rick Turner, a lot of people knew Rick Turner better than me, and liked him a lot. We'll leave it there. If you want to know about Rick Turner and the details into his guitar, ask the guys at Texas Toast, because they spent a lot of time with one of those guitars trying to replicate it once for one of their customers. And if there's anybody that knows anything about that era of guitar builders, it's Matt. Matt Flaherty knows a lot about that generation of guitar builders. Because he went to guitar building school, and during that time period, those guys were the really influential ones. So you might ask him about it. I only had a few interactions with Rick Turner, and we weren't friends. R.I.P. and stuff.
All right.
Oh, R.I.P. Coolio, man.
Yeah, that's
sucks.
Why are you so quiet today?
Because I was reflecting on Coolio. The Dangerous Mind soundtrack came at a very pivotal time in my life. Just saying. Gangster's Paradise was the thing. I know you wouldn't remember it because you were so young. I know you know every word. Okay. What are we doing? We're talking about, we're talking about, let's see if anybody has any guesses for this list. Although I think somebody already ruined it, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think people stopped guessing when you said they ruined it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they sent like a nerdy face emoji, so they read ahead.
Oh, did they? Okay.
I mean, that's what you said.
Yeah, no worries. They did. So what happened was somebody went in the comments and cheated and looked because I put links
How
to.
is it cheating?
Well, I put links to everything, so.
So you gave the answer away. So what you're saying is somebody
Well,
could effectively research.
They could. It was no. I put the links in there because I had to do that before the live stream so that people could click on the links, etc.
Well, they could also read them if they know how to click on them.
That is true. That is true. Okay, so let's check this stuff out. So, first, this is we're gonna go in from 5 to 1. So this is a classical Yamaha student beginner guitar for $159. Makes total sense, right? Makes total sense. It just kind of, I feel like this is an interesting thing though. Who here, raise your hand or put it in the comments or whatever, did your parents be like, you're going to learn on acoustic first, and if you're really into it, we're going to get you an electric guitar? Or we're like, yourself, you were like, I don't want my hands to hurt, so I'm going to play a nylon string guitar instead of a steel string guitar. I feel like this is, it's totally misinformation in my opinion, but this seems to be where people go first. Next is this very interesting, which is not a cheap guitar. So this is one of the things I wanted to get into. This is top 5 guitars sold at Sweetwater right now. This is a $1,700 or $1,800 Taylor 224, which I don't know if you guys noticed, but a Taylor 224 costs $1,800 now. They did not used to. When I was shopping for Taylors, remember when I went into the store and I played like every Taylor and really wanted to buy one? I think this guitar was like $800.
And what is it now? It was
$1,800. So, of course that was 6-7 years ago, but these guitars have really gone up. This is also a Koa one. It's really nice, got pickup and stuff. Yeah, I didn't like Taylor necks, so I didn't end up buying one, but which is really interesting. But $1,800, top 5. I would have thought, like maybe many of you did, that this would have been all kind of cheap guitars, like Squiers, and not cheap, but let's say less than $1,000. Let's say $800, $500, $200, that kind of thing. I did not expect to see this here. One I did kind of expect to see was a Taylor GS Mini. These are really, really popular. And this is a guitar that I think a lot of people should have. Even if you're an accomplished guitar player and you have 20 of them, this is a really cool guitar to have in the living room. Just to play around, while you're watching TV or whatever, Pat Sajak spinning the wheel, your mind is wandering, you're, strumming some chords. I don't watch Jeopardy anymore because people keep dying. But this is a pretty cool guitar for $600. This next thing is a big surprise to me. This is in the top 5 sold guitars at Sweetwater right now. This was the surprise for me. As many people talk crap about Gibson on the internets and in comment sections and terrible this and that and whatever, this is this month number 2 on the top 5 list. The Gibson Les Paul. The Gibson Les Paul too. Not a studio, not a tribute, not an Epiphone, a full boat, proper Les Paul standard for $28.99, which is really interesting to me. Do we have a super chat there?
Yes. Are you going to interrupt?
Let me do the last one, and we'll talk about it. The Strat Pack for $259 makes total sense.
And you see those everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. The little amp, the little guitar, the little everything. There's links to all this stuff in the description, so you can check it out.
Are you saying colors too, or just color is not relevant?
I didn't. So can we take his super chat, and then I will tell you what they told me at Sweetwater today, because it's kind of complicated actually.
All right.
In fact, I'll find the email because it's a little interesting how they do it.
So we got a super chat from Chad. Thank you very much, Chad.
Thanks, Chad.
He says, started watching your channel after deciding it would be fun to learn about guitar electronics. I'm really enjoying these live streams. Thanks. You two rock.
Thanks, Chad. I appreciate that. And thanks for being around, because it's cool to see new faces, and that we've been seeing a bunch of new faces. I know he just put in the super chat, but I want to acknowledge, even if you haven't put in a super chat, that it's cool to see you here. Everybody that's been here every week for, I swear, 7 years of us doing this. And B, all the people that are new hanging out in these live streams, because I feel like there's a lot of new names. I want to say new names and faces, because that's the way I look at it because I see a lens, but I don't think of it that way. So anyway, he made me think to say thanks for all the new folks that are around. Okay, so what he told me, and this is a little, I didn't totally understand it, but what he told me was they have all kinds of crazy metrics that they can go by. But this is basically just across the lists, because they have our lists are done by category, such as acoustic, electric, and then deeper, like solid body, hollow body. They can like break it way down. If I wanted to, I could bug him and be like, okay, what's the top selling hollow body? What's the top selling solid body? What's the top selling bass? We could get super granular on this, and I don't want to bother him with it. But basically taking the top sellers, kind of pulling off of all of the categories, this was what he gave me. So this is a little more general, but apparently they can get really, it would make sense. It's Sweetwater. I'm sure they have all kinds of metrics for everything. Were you surprised by anything on that list?
A lot of people were really surprised there was a $3,000 guitar in there.
Me too.
And I think even before that, whatever the
$1,700 one was? Yeah, I know.
And somebody said a bunch of doctors must have taken up guitar during the pandemic. Yeah, so what is that just like current? Or is that was there a range of time?
It was this month.
This month, okay.
It was this month, because we're at the end of the month too.
Okay.
So I just thought it was interesting. I wanted to know for myself. I've been doing some surveys and stuff. So I'm kind of just trying to learn. So one of the things about having a YouTube channel is I make all this content, and 99% of the stuff I make is just like, oh, I want to make this video. I'm just going to make it, right? But as I'm hanging out with you all during these live streams, and then also during the Patreon hangouts that we do on the fourth Monday of every month, we're really diving deep on some stuff there. Really trying to like learn. I want to learn about all of you. Like, I want to learn what is out there. I know what I like. But I think one of the things that I've gotten in the habit of on my channel is if I don't like it, I don't do it. But that's not fair, because I want to learn about what other people like. I don't want to sound or appear like I don't care about that stuff, because I do want to learn about it. So I've been doing all these various surveys and stuff. One of the other ones that I did lately is, when is the last time you bought a brand new guitar, not used? Okay. So this could include like if you ordered one or a custom build or something. But a brand new guitar, 0 to 6 months, 6 months to a year, 1 to 2 years, 2 to 3 years, and more than 3 years. And the majority of people, 36% on 34% on this survey of 2,000 people, 34% bought a guitar within the last 6 months. That's higher than I thought it was going to be. So people are buying guitars. And apparently they're not buying cheap ones. Or they are buying some. They're buying it all across the board, but they're buying some good, like really expensive guitars. And some of the folks, because we had 145 comments on here, it was about probably 50-50. The amount of folks who were like, I picked up a new Squire. I picked up a new, let's call it, sub-American Stratocaster cost. So I'm not talking about just Fenders. I'm talking about maybe it was an Epiphone, maybe it was a Squire, maybe it was a Yamaha Pacifica, maybe it was anything sub $1,000, maybe something like that. But then there was the other half, and it was like, I just got a new Silver Sky, I just got a new Les Paul, I just got a new SG, I just got a new. So it was kind of all over the place. And the reason I think this is so interesting is because if you just paid attention to comments on YouTube, because I try to pay attention, and you pay attention to comments on Facebook groups and stuff like that, you would think that A, nobody was buying a Gibson Les Paul because the quality sucks. We know that's not true. B, that guitars are getting so expensive that nobody's buying expensive guitars, and we know for sure that that's not true, especially with all this stuff around Fender. What's really, in my opinion, from everything I've been learning from doing all the surveys, and I know it's a small sample size, but everybody's buying everything. Mm-hmm. We're all buying stuff. All different price points, all different genres, all different everything. So there's no like, I don't know. If you read the comments on the internet, you can get put kind of in a negative place, like nobody can afford anything and everything sucks and all guitars suck and everything sucks. And I'm like, no, actually everybody's buying a lot of cool stuff and having a lot of fun playing guitar. And so it just inspires me to make these videos. I don't know, it's just really neat. And it's really cool to get to know you guys.
Not a super chat, but I want to call out Jimmy Ray Hawkins just became a member during the live stream.
Thanks, Jimmy. He just hit the little join button down there. So what we're trying to do there is there's a little bit more interaction that goes on with that, because then when you ask a question ahead of time, I post the streams live. The live streams on Thursday, I post them early on the timeline for members only and for Patreon members, and they get to ask questions. We get to put them on the screen, give you a shout out, all that kind of stuff. So that's one of the things that happen. And it's guaranteed that your question gets answered. It doesn't get missed, because sometimes it happens depending on how fast the feed's going over there. So thank you for that. And I've been trying to think about some other ways too. We do have a level on the YouTube thing. It's the same as Patreon. So if you want to go be on YouTube member or you want to be a Patreon member, you can do one or the other. They're exactly the same. But one of the cool things is the fourth Monday of every month, for the highest level on both sides, it's only $20. It's not expensive. Is we do a live hangout on Zoom. So it's kind of like this, but it's actually, we have cameras and it's two-way instead of me just talking to a lens. So we actually have faces and names and voices, and we get to chat. And it's all Brady Bunch boxes on Zoom, and we get to talk and solve problems. And hey, my guitar's doing this or whatever, and we get to talk live. So it's really cool. So if you want to be a part of that, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. You were talking about comments on the internet, and Rob Ritzenheim says, "Not my comments. My comments are pure good vibes, bro."
And most people's are. Most people's are, and I think what I love about it, learning about what people are buying is because I hope it inspires other people to be stoked about guitar stuff, because there can kind of be this cloud over it sometimes, and I just think it's so neat. I'm really excited about what's coming out. These new PRS pedals, y'all, that just came out. Um, I left a link to them in the description. So I'm going to show you. So these things are really cool. Of course, PRS, Paul Reed Smith is gonna say, oh, it did. Paul Reed Smith is gonna say all the tone words, clarity and transparent and true bypass and all the things. He's gonna say all the things. In his little thing on Facebook today, or on YouTube today, I watched it. It was pretty cool. So obviously he's gonna be, the way he normally is, and how certain crazy things affect tone and etc. But I think this is really neat. So I'll show you this pedal. There's 3 of them. Let me know if you guys have seen these already. But this is called the horse meat, and he basically said because it eats a clone for lunch, which is really funny because the clone has the centaur on it, right? So this is an overdrive pedal with a level, and then the voice affects the EQ on the clipping, which is an interesting, or he said, I apologize, he said it affects the frequency response on the clipping. So really creamy on one side, really clarity and probably all the way to fizz, I would think, on the other side. And then the treble and the bass are cut and boost separate from each other, not just a tone, which is really, really, really cool. So this is a really, really neat pedal. And it's $249, which is very probably normal for an overdrive pedal. In fact, it's probably a very reasonable price. I thought these things were going to kind of be unobtainium money, because PRS stuff is always a little spendy, and then he tries to justify it with fancy words. And I felt like this stuff is pretty awesome.
Before you switch it back.
Yeah.
Chad just became a member during the live stream.
Thanks, Chad. I'm sorry. Okay. This is not making fun of you, Chad. This, just so you know, this is like fondness. Like if I ever met you in person and we were having a beer, I would laugh about this with you. But every time I hear the word Chad, you know what I think of?
No.
Tom Green. Wow. On the boat. He's on the boat because he's the Chad. He is Drew Barrymore's boyfriend on the Angels movie, Charlie's Angels, and Tom Green is the Chad, and he speaks of himself in third person, and Tom Green's hilarious anyway, and every time he talks about himself, he talks about the Chad. You came to see the Chad. So every time I hear somebody's name, Chad, I think of that, and it makes me laugh. So thank you for making me laugh. And we have another super chat.
Brad Guitar Miller, thank you for the super chat. He says, dodge the Ian bullet here. I don't know where you're at. Texas Toast in 2 weeks. Question on center punch humbucker. Green and black wires go together and get grounded for split coil?
That is correct. You are correct. So on our center punch, first of all, get in the comments, Brad. Put a bunch of questions in front of your thing and let us know how you are and where you are in Florida. Not like your street address and everything, but like let us know. Because I do know he's down there. Okay, so the way all of our humbuckers that are 4-wire are set up, and I want to discuss that in a minute because we made a change on the website this week. But 4-wire humbuckers, the green and the black are the center links. The white and the braid go to ground, and the red goes to the switch or to the pot. That's the hot, however you do that.
And this is the guy who made the business card holders, right?
Yes.
Yeah, those were super cool.
Yeah, they're
Brad,
super. I
by
have
the
them right
way.
there. I was actually looking today about how I could put it on the bottom because I wanted to hold my phone up while I'm working. I'm going to use it for that instead of, it's going to be like a phone holder because we don't have business cards. So, yeah. All right, let me show you this compressor. This is wicked cool. This is, oh, it does that to me every time. This is an optical compressor, which is super, super cool. And from what I heard in the video today, it sounds amazing. And it basically has an output gain and a compression knob, and that's it. There's no release, there's no attack, there's none of that junk. It's just two knobs, but a real optical compressor, which is really neat. And the light lights up to give you an idea how hard and when you are hitting compression, so you can tell what it's doing. Because sometimes a compressor, you can't really tell what it's doing. You can kind of more feel it, but when you're really on the edge of it right there, so putting a light on it when it does, that's really, really, really neat. So I thought that was really cool.
Brad is in Tampa. He said they lost some roofing tiles and lots of branches down.
Oh, that's good. I mean, that's good. Well, there was a lot of people in the Tampa area who were far worse off than that. So that's awesome. I'm glad that you got by with so little damage. We are still waiting for it to get here. It got really, really, really windy here today, but that was only probably 15, 20 mile an hour. Tomorrow it's supposed to get to like 40, 50 mile an hour winds tomorrow. So we'll probably be at tropical storm by the time it gets to us, but we'll see.
But we're out of the cone of shame.
They moved the cone of shame, or the cone of
doom.
No. I called it the cone of doom. They moved it over a little bit, so we're kind of just on the very edge of it now. So anyway, and then this other thing is really interesting to me. This is a LFO flanger, but it has two flangers in it. So the top row of knobs is one LFO, the bottom one is another, and you can make them two completely different flanger settings and then use the mix knob in the bottom to balance between. So you could have one all the way on one side, one all the way on the other side, and then mix across, which is really, really, really neat. The video that I watched a couple of videos on this today. Really, really cool stuff. And then you can also adjust the wet dry. And then because flangers will take away some of your top end, sometimes you can add some of them back in, which is really cool. So anyway, those are really neat pedals. I want to talk about them real quick because I thought they were cool. There's a link to them in the description. If you want to pick one up. I think the flanger is $349, which makes sense. And the compressor is $219 and the overdrive is $249. So yeah, really neat stuff. What else is going on over there?
Bugs Bunny says, I will only buy one more guitar, and it has to be a purple Kramer like the one behind you.
That's very interesting. Bugs Bunny, you should send me an email. Go to DylanTalksTone.com, hit the Contact Us page button, and send me an email. I'm not ready to sell it yet, but when I do, it's going to be very, very cool.
So Chad is new, and he said, do they do this every week or just at random times? So you want to do like a rundown of the week?
Our programming
yes.
rundown?
What is our regular scheduled program?
Regularly scheduled programming is Monday. We have kind of a guitar techie sort of video that comes out typically at noon on Monday. And that's probably how you found our channel. You probably found our channel from some, how to set up a guitar, how to wire a guitar, something like that. That kind of video comes out on Monday. Tuesday, I actually started to do a live stream at 4 p.m. Eastern time. This is all Eastern time. 4 p.m. Eastern time by myself from 4 to 5. And I go through the comments for the previous week and I pick out some questions that are actual questions that people want to know answers to that might have just gotten lost in the comments. And then, of course, there's I usually do some sort of opinion editorial attached to that because something will make me think of something I want to say, which is really fun. And so we do that on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Wednesdays at noon is gear news, and that has been so fun. We've been doing that for a couple of years now. Basically, I go through all of my press releases and all of the stuff because companies send me things like when a new product is going to come out or whatever. And we just put together a gear news because I don't feel like anybody, since Rebecca Dirks was doing it in Oregon 5 or 6 years ago, I don't feel like anybody's doing a good gear news now. So we started doing it, and I really, really like that. So that's Wednesday at noon. Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time is this thing every week. And it's part of a thing we like to call Primetime Guitar because it actually starts at 6 Eastern with Dylan and Ike from Flipside Music in Denver, Colorado. And they are a guitar store. And a lot of times they'll do a lot of like live demos with pedals and stuff, which is really cool. That goes from 6 to 7. And then from 7 to 8 is Matt and Chris at Texas Toast Guitars. And they're guitar builders. And so they'll get into the guitar construction, woodwork, finishes, all in a lot of other shenanigans, all that kind of stuff. And then we start this at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, and then Fridays, every once in a while, there's kind of a random video on Friday because sometimes I just get in the mood to make a video that doesn't really have another place and I just put it there.
Yep. But we are here
every Thursday. Yeah. And then we also have another channel. It's just youtube.com/Dylan and Leslie. And that is our lifestyle channel. Basically, that's all of our other hobby stuff. And I'm really firing that back up again because, I'm really into like pocket knives and knives. And
did you just say pocket knives and knives?
And mountain bikes. And we just did a review on a coffee mug, which is weird, but it was awesome. And I'm into all kinds of other stuff besides guitars. And that's kind of where that lays. And RVing because we have a Class B motorhome that we travel in. So
we have a bug video coming up soon.
We have a bug video coming up soon because we have so many bugs on the front of our van. I ordered 3 different bug removers, and we're going to put tape on the front of the van, and we're going to try them all to get the bugs off the front of the van, do a shootout, that kind of thing. Obviously, it's not guitar related, so it goes on the Dylan and Leslie channel. So there might be a link to that below. I'm not sure. Maybe there is. But yeah. So
well, we do you a bunch can see it because that's how I'm commenting.
Oh, okay. Oh, you are. Yeah, you are Dylan and Leslie when we do these things, huh?
Duh.
Yep. Awesome.
All right. You want...
My coffee is still hot.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It is weird.
Let's see. All right. We already did the Purple Kramer guy.
Cool.
Charles Wallace wants to know, why do people shield humbucker guitars? Seems redundant to me.
Don't know. That's the emoji. Most used emoji on my iPhone is this. And I use it for that.
Somebody said, is there any whiteboard shenanigans tonight? It hasn't been updated.
No. If Yoko can do it, I can do it better. Has been up there for a couple of weeks.
Yep.
I want to put that on a shirt. I just haven't figured out how to execute it yet.
You don't know how to put something on a shirt?
No, I want to do it with a picture of her face. I haven't figured out how to pull it off yet.
ML says, what does pickup wire gauge do to the tone? Strat, Tele, Jazzmaster, SG, Taylor, acoustic. That's a lot of guitars.
Okay. So there are typically 2 or 3 gauges used. We use 2 gauges right now. Here, we use 42 gauge and 43 gauge. 43 gauge we use on the neck pickup of a Telecaster. When you make the wire thinner, the resistance per foot is higher. So then you multiply that times the amount of winds, so, thousands of feet of wire that go on a particular pickup. If you put, let's say you put 7,000 winds of 42 on a pickup, and then you put 7,000 winds of 43 on the same pickup. Everything's the same, but the wire gauge changes. The mid-range will be a lot flatter with the smaller gauge. The highs will be a little bit more muted. The bass response will come up some. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then there's also the thickness of the insulation matters. So you have double build and single build insulation. Yeah, there's a bunch of factors there.
Somebody just said, splatter cam or dash cam. And it made me remember, what did we ever do? It didn't make it to YouTube, the turkey video, did it? It was on Facebook.
That was on our other channel.
It was on YouTube?
Did I ever do?
We did something with it, but I know it's on Facebook.
Who said it?
Who said what? About the bugs?
The splatter cam. Oh, you're saying that's talking about the bugs. Yeah, okay, I thought it was somebody who actually saw that.
I don't think so, but it made me think of it, and then I was thinking that actually would be.
No, we hit a turkey with our Jeep in the windshield. It broke our windshield on our Jeep.
And we got it on video.
We got it on video because we had a dash cam in there, and the turkey came across, smashed it. Yeah.
And yeah, that was really funny.
I forgot about that.
Dylan was like, "I didn't know turkeys could fly."
I didn't. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Chad found you. He said, "I searched something about guitar electronics explained. I'm wanting to learn why things work, not just how to wire something. I can solder and follow directions. I'm interested in the why."
That's awesome, man. That is what we do. We have, I think at this point, there's over 1,000 videos now. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah. Especially lately because we're 4 a week, No, it's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's really cool. 42 or 43 gauge.
Mm-hmm.
Both. Strat, Tele, Jazz. Let's see. Tele neck pickups typically have 43 gauge on them. All of the following pickups have 42. Tele bridge, most all Strat, Jazz bass, Precision bass, Jazzmaster, Jaguar Mustang, PAF, P90, Filtertron, all of those. Pretty much what you think of as the classic design has 42 gauge wire. And then there's other ones, then everybody makes variations off of that per their own design, if that makes sense.
So Ada TM is one of those like break up their comments. So they were actually trying to ask 42 or 43 gauge for bright sound on a single coil. Which gauge is better?
42.
Okay. So that.
Okay, awesome.
It is really hard to follow if you don't put everything in the same comment. Because I'm grabbing things.
Yeah, and because the YouTube bounces it around
it puts
on
it
us
in
sometimes.
Whatever order it wants sometimes. Yeah.
So we might see it like 6 or 7 comments apart if you don't put it all in one question.
Anyway, I'm not trying to complain. Just that's why we.
Well, you don't want to miss.
Didn't understand.
You don't want to miss half their comment, especially if it's a question like that.
Yeah. Everybody is now talking about WKRP in Cincinnati because of the flying turkeys thing.
Oh, see, I don't remember that.
We looked it up. Because we were with Gil.
Oh, that's right. We were in Nashville. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry. Daju. Dylan taught me how to solder and how to test my guitar with the multimeter. A ton of stuff. Thank you, Dylan.
Dude, that's awesome. That's my favorite. When people learn how to do stuff and then now they can work on their own guitar. Oh, one thing I want to mention. Well, 2 things. One is YouTube changed a bunch of stuff, and now we don't have t-shirts underneath the video. So you have to go to DylanTalksTone.com right now to order any of these cool t-shirts. They're reasonably priced, and there's a bunch of designs, hats, t-shirts, all that kind of stuff, all that swag. There used to be like a little thing right down below the video right here where you could order it direct, and it got goofed up. They changed the features, so it's gone. The other thing I wanted to mention is we have made a change on our website. This is something that happened. Patreon folks have been helping me a lot with like, hey, we think you should do this different. And I've been listening. One is our DAF humbucker pickup, which is our vintage style PAF, has always been wax potted with a four wire humbucker setup. So you can coil split it and phase flip it and all that stuff if you want. Somebody pointed out to me the other day that it's possible that people don't want to buy it because they want an actual vintage style PAF that's not wax potted and that it has the braided wire on it from like the old Gibson style braided wire. So now when you go to the website and you order a DAF, there's a drop down button that says, do you want the modern style or the vintage style? Now, the winding, the magnets, the specs of the pickup have not changed. The only thing that has changed is the vintage one is not wax potted and it comes with that metal braided wire on it. So I just want to mention that. I'm going to mention it a couple more times over the next couple live streams because people have, they brought that up and they're like, that's a valid point. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll just start doing it like that.
Rob Ritzenheim just became a YouTube member.
Right on, Rob.
Thank you.
Rob used to be a Patreon member, so he has joined the YouTube side.
Place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is just good for options when we realized we could do that.
Some people don't want to start up a whole new account with junk. They're already here, so I get it. And it's everybody gets the same thing, so that's why I did it that way. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Steve Rezer says, so should I be watching out for crazy turkeys on my way to Nashville tonight? Not if you're driving in the dark. I think they only come out in the daytime.
Yeah, and it was weird. It was weird.
Oh, hang on. Y'all are on a roll tonight. This is fun.
Yeah, I love it when it's like this. When they're going so fast, we're trying to keep up.
Well, Doc Siltonen just became a YouTube member.
Sweet. Known Doc for quite a while. That's awesome. And these are folks that have been with us for a long time.
Remember what his name was. I was like, wait, what's his name?
Don
Even
Siltonen.
though it's right in front of me. Curtis Chavez says, now sell the vintage spec DAF for $500 each so that people can think that it sounds superior.
The vintage ones are $10 more if that makes you feel fancier. I had to do that because the wire is expensive.
Yeah.
That hooks it up. So it's a little more expensive, but if you are going to put it in your Les Paul and you want it to look right, or you're building a guitar that you want to have vintage correct looking, I totally get it.
Brian Phelps said, Dylan, by the way, thanks for the info on ordering the pick guard like you had in the silver Strat.
I made your Strat pickups today. I am making a humbucker for it tomorrow, and I think I'm building that I think I have a pick guard for that here. We're trying to order ahead on pick guards because people are ordering them like crazy right now. So I think we're building that thing and shipping it early next week. Be cool.
So I pronounced it wrong. Thank you for the correction because I do want to say your name right. So it's Dashu there.
Oh, awesome. Robert has the best question of all time. I can see it from here.
I'm not there yet. Do you want me to start with his?
Sure.
Robert R. wants to know, do you make a version of a P90?
We make the best P90, as Jeremy Clarkson would say, in the world. I really am proud of our P90. It's really, really good. And yeah, so Dylan Talks Tone, Click on P90. We make a humbucker sized one. We make a dog ear sized one, and we make a soap bar sized one. And they're really, really good. And some of the other folks in the comments probably have them, and you can take their word for it over mine. Yeah. But I love that. It's my favorite pickup in any guitar is a P90. I will put them in as much stuff as possible. It's really good.
Wayne Hussey says, Dylan and Leslie think we all look like, I don't know if it's supposed to be Hal or HAL in 2001 A Space Odyssey. I've never seen that. I don't know what that means.
Hal. Man, that's been a long time since I watched that movie. That's one of those movies that people say that you need to watch because it's like, I'm not going to say it's not like reading 1984 as in like this some sort of Nostradamus-y, prophetic-y sort of what the future is going to be, but kind of in a weird sci-fi sort of way. Like, I feel like that's how people felt about 2001, A Space Odyssey. But it was just so long that I kind of didn't, I don't know. I don't remember it. It just never connected. And I think if you watch it now, you'd think it was stupid because it was done so long ago. You know what I mean? But you don't like The Princess Bride, so.
I'm not ashamed. People are praising your P90s. All right, let me grab.
I'm not looking, so I'll be surprised.
Thanks, y'all, for. Oh, how is a computer with an interface that looks like a camera lens?
That is right.
I couldn't remember the explanation, but doesn't help me.
Yeah, I couldn't connect the name with what you're talking about, but now that you say
it must stand for something.
Yep.
Curtis Chavez says, best small multi-tool with pliers, both screwdrivers, and a bottle opener. Or should I go to the other channel?
I have a Leatherman Wave that I really like. Yeah, there's a weird story about how I got it. Won't get into that right now, but basically, yeah, it's a Leatherman Wave, and I really like it. But I use it all the time, a lot in the van, especially. I almost said especially. That's weird. Yeah, I use it in the van a lot. But there's a bunch of them. Gerber makes a good one. And it's probably cheaper. The Gerber one's probably cheaper. This one wasn't cheap. It's kind of overkill, actually. But it works good. Today, while you're looking for the next one.
Texas Toast Guitar says, if y'all want to buy guitars with Dylan pickups, I've got the hookup.
He does. In fact, yeah, Matt, you need to text me later. I actually had one of my viewers on a live stream the other day because we showed that guitar off in a video. Say to me, is the one that Dylan has spoken for yet? I want it. So I told him to get in touch with Matt. So I'm not sure if he did or not. So hopefully he did. That would be really, really cool. And that whole series of Challenger X guitars at TexasToastGuitars.com is coming with our pickups in it. And they are a bit configurable if you want something other than humbuckers.
Slacker Deluxe, thank you for the super chat. He says, Dylan, I have another one of my cockamamie ideas. If I hide a Sustainiac under a pick guard, Telly secret agent style, will it be strong enough to excite the strings, causing feedback?
Oh, man, I don't know. I think it will certainly be less effective. That thing really has to be adjusted right to be full-on effective. But I don't have tons of experience with a Sustainiac. I only had one Schecter with a Sustainiac in it. And I will say that it was really key to get it to the right height for it to properly work. Here's why, actually. Because the Sustainiac is half of the pickup, and you're exciting the signal or the string over the single coil that's next to it. So if you put the whole thing below, I don't know how effective it would work.
All right. Doc wants to know, do you have any Alnico 8 magnets for making P90s left?
Oh, tons. Yeah, we have. Yeah. The Alnico 8 P90 is not on the website at the moment, but I will make them if people request them. And we are going to come out with them officially in the next couple of months. It's just something that I have not caught up to yet.
Pooh Ninja, can you explain WTF a TV Jones is?
Yeah, that's a brand of pickups. They are most known for Filtertrons, which are the little round-looking humbucker things with a bunch of screws in them that are in Gretsch guitars, mostly. And TV Jones is actually the brand that most people think of when they think of the aftermarket version of those pickups. Yep.
Windsurf Maui, did you go to any concerts during your trip to Colorado and back?
Nope, because we were just running the entire time. Like Chris said, it would have been nice to slow down a little bit, but we didn't have time. We were just like working the entire time. It was fun. It was super fun though.
Ken Stouffer, curious about the miscellaneous shipping option when ordering pickups from your site. It's $1 cheaper than standard shipping.
Okay, that actually, is it an actual option that you can choose? It shouldn't be. So I'll go look at that. Those dumb things. Basically, what it is I have it set in tiers by the weight of the total order. So sometimes, like miscellaneous stuff, if like you were to order like a wiring harness for a telly, it's lighter, so it falls under that little bit less. So sometimes if you order a combination of parts, it will put a weird shipping thing on it, but it's all automated. I just need to make sure it looks right. So I'm sorry if that looks confusing. Um, Honestly, all the shipping needs to be $9.95. It really does. But I am trying to keep stuff as low as possible. Because that is all getting more expensive. It's crazy. We're trying not to raise prices on pickups. That's really trying not to do.
David Mitchell, what's the possibilities of a DAF with a cover like your humbucker size P90? Screws offset, of course. I just like that look.
So what you're saying is you want like a phenolic top with a ring? Probably not. Probably not because I don't have a laser. I don't have a laser to do that with. And that's building a whole nother part. That would be like another $20 for that pickup. What we can do is we have, I think it's right now, it's on the website still. We do these special run things like where we're doing a toaster top where we can put different meshes and stuff. So I'm going to probably update that and give you some other cool looks to choose from in some short runs over the next couple of months that we're going to be doing. I'm just trying to get caught up on the previous short runs that we did before I add a new one.
Ken Stover said it was selected by default, so he used it. So
yeah, cool. Yeah, basically, if you buy a pick guard, it's X amount of dollars. If you buy a set of pickups, it's X amount of dollars. If you buy something tiny, it's X amount of dollars.
He ordered the 51P base that he mentioned he would. It was finally time.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, so that's a small pickup. That's one pickup by itself. It falls into it. If you order 3 pickups, then the shipping would change. Yeah, yes. Sorry that looks confusing, but it's all automated. Oh, look at there. The order just came through on my phone. Thank you.
Travis McCartney, I asked you a few months ago on a live stream about a birth year guitar. I forgot to update y'all though. I ended up buying a white made in Japan Strat that I had shipped over from the UK. Thanks for the advice.
Sweet.
I vaguely remember that
do.
conversation. Rob Ritzenheim says, do your chakras ever get misaligned after a long day of slinging magnets? If so, how do you realign your vibes, bro?
A really hot shower with, like, I have a spot where my phone can sit so I can watch YouTube in the shower, and just not think about anything for a while. That's what has to happen. I have to take some time in the afternoon, usually about 3:30 or 4 o'clock. Like, I have to take like a half hour off because I start early. Because she starts early and then she's done at 4. So I have to take some time in the afternoon and just completely stop, mindless, just stare at YouTube, stare at something dumb, play some guitar maybe. But here's the problem playing guitar. Then I'll end up coming back in here and be like, oh, let me figure out what I'm going to do for this next video. And then I just start working again.
Yep.
So a lot of times it's a 20-minute shower till all the hot water is gone.
Steve Rezor says, Dylan, try some coffee from Five Lakes Coffee. They're really good out of Sturgis, Michigan. We've been there. The owners are really good people too.
I think I've had that coffee. Yeah, we've been there.
Yeah, they have a Meyer there. That's where we grocery shop.
That's right. Yep.
Rusty, have you checked out that virtual Jeff digital tremolo unit? Sophie Burrell tested one recently. Looks really cool.
I have not. I do follow Sophie Burrell on Instagram, but I have not seen it.
Patrick Trites. Dylan, are your P90 pickups as quiet as Gibson P90s?
They're quieter than Gibson P90s. Your mileage may vary based on your circumstances, so if you put them in there and they're not as quiet as what, but if you have stock Gibson P90s, they probably will be quieter. Yeah.
Ken Stover says, please use my question. So, how is the vacuuming neighbor?
She's banging around up there right now.
Yeah, I haven't even heard the vacuum, but it's definitely been like, I don't know if there's like an animal. There was noise, so much noise when I woke up today, like before the alarm woke up, because I don't know if they have an animal playing with a ball. It's just like there's something banging around.
Banging around, rolling around.
I don't know.
And now we're watching that Jeffrey Dahmer series, and now I'm like, what is really going on up there?
I mean, as long as nothing starts seeping through my ceiling or I don't smell
things.
For
real.
That's disgusting.
For real. Next.
Overlord of Destruction.
That's a pretty good.
Always wondered what makes a Firebird pickup different or special.
So that is a mini humbucker. It's 2 little plastic bobbins, and it has, instead of having the Firebird ones, instead of having a magnet underneath with the pull pieces, it has 2 magnets that stick inside the bobbins. They're bars that go inside the bobbins, and it's just 2 magnets that go all the way across. So they are different. That's, if you're wondering if they're special or why they sound different, they are constructed very differently.
I am. Hey Dylan, nice of you to go live. Grounding loops and crazy wirings. How can you tell if I have a ground loop?
Are you ready for this? In a passive guitar, it is impossible to have a ground loop because all components in a guitar ground at one point, and that is the output jack. It doesn't matter where you hook it up. They still terminate at the output jack and go out to the amp. A ground loop is the technical definition, not the technical, because I don't want to get that technical, but what a ground loop is it's when you have a different potential to ground in 2 different components. And then those components are hooked together with an audio wire causing a loop. For example, if you have a pedal board plugged into this outlet over here, and you have a amp plugged into that outlet over there, and the wires connecting everything, there is a possibility, depending on how badly your house is wired, that you could have a ground loop. If you have two amplifiers plugged in and the wire connecting them so that the sound goes out both of them, the ground loop isn't in your guitar, it's outside. So ground loops happen in pedal boards that are miswired. It happens in situations where you have bad grounds in your home. It happens when you are playing a guitar and a pedal board when you have two outlets that are on different circuits in your house. So like if this amp right here was plugged into this outlet and my recording device and my computer and everything was plugged into a different circuit on a different wall, it was then a different circuit in the house, then I could have a ground loop. But you cannot have a ground loop in a guitar. That is not a thing. That is a myth. Yeah. Are you having to ban some folks?
No.
Oh.
I am also wanted to know why ceramic pickups have a hollower sound.
That just depends on the construction. I would like to do a video about this at some point because people have a really negative vibe of ceramic pickups, and they actually can sound really good and really warm, and all the fancy words that you use when you talk about a pickup that you really like, they can sound that way if they're wound correctly.
Ken Stover was really, more importantly, did we find out her OnlyFans? I had to ask.
Hashtag puke emoji.
Aww. Angel Raven 444. Hey Dylan, do you believe in the Mandela effect? Because it's now called Dylan Talks Tone. We are past time.
Mm-hmm.
We have answered a lot of questions. Jeff Sim says, I'm going to upgrade Telly parts from chrome to black or gold. What's your recommendation?
If you're going to do black or gold, get the nicest stuff you can find.
Mm-hmm.
Do not cheap out on black or gold. I'm sure you have had black hardware that looks all chalky and gross, and then when you rub it really hard with your thumb, it looks nice and black and shiny underneath. Cheap black hardware does that. You might look into black chrome, which is really cool because it can be polished and it looks really nice. It's not black, but it's neat. And it, to me, a lot of black hardware can look cheap. So just be careful on that. Same thing with gold, because cheap gold hardware, as soon as you touch it and the oil's in your hands, it will just turn brown and tarnished looking and stuff. So just don't cheap out on your gold hardware either.
Windsurf Maui says, please use the whiteboard when explaining ceramic magnets.
There.
You didn't explain.
I know he wants me to use the white. He wants me to use the whiteboard
in a video.
In a video, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
This has been fun. We went overtime because it has been so fun. Thank you for hanging out with us, and we will see you probably on Monday with a new video that I have not shot yet, that I'm going to shoot tomorrow. I think it's going to be fun. Make sure you check out all the stuff we do. Hit the subscribe button, the like button.
Click some links below.
Click some links below and shop around. Even if you don't buy anything, it still helps.
Thanks for all the new members and the super chats and
yes.
the order that came in live.
Yes, I appreciate all of that, because that stuff is really what keeps this whole thing going. So we appreciate you a lot.
Chuck C said, don't forget a video, 50s versus 60s wiring.
That is coming.
Cool. Bye, y'all.